हेलो।
No,
स्क्रीन
sir.
No,
No,
sir. No,
अभी
sir.
नहीं। आई एम शेयरिंग माय स्क्रीन। इज इट विजिबल नाउ?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
ओके, सो लास्ट क्लास में हम लोगों ने एब्स्ट्रैक्ट क्लासेस तक देख लिया था। देन वी आर मूविंग टू द मल्टीपल इनहेरिटेंस। सो व्हाट इज दिस मल्टीपल इनहेरिटेंसेस? When we are having a class that is having a more than one superclass, then we can say that it is a multiple inheritance. So this is just like an generalization. We'll check what is the difference between generalization and inheritance, but we are having some problem associated with this multiple inheritance. So the problem is that it inherits the features of all the superclasses. So problem arises that when we are having some common features that are available from two different superclasses, and their usage is different in different contexts. So when we are going for uh, inheriting these two different superclasses, and let's say this may be disjoint or maybe same classes from the same domain. So when we are going to implement the major functionalities of all those classes in the subclasses, so problem arises is that they are having we are having some mixing problems. That is, let's say a class A and class B are the two different superclasses available, and we are inheriting from class C. So if A has having some attributes like let's say age, and again another attribute age is present in another class, let's say B. So when we are going to inherit all A and B in the C, so we are having some mixing problems. So we have to look all those problems over there, and we have to identify what information that is to be inherited from different classes. Now we are having some difference between generalization and inheritance. So generalization is supposed to be a conceptual entity or some conceptual thing, while inheritance is a language specific mechanism. So we are having different programming languages available, and these programming languages have different way of implementing this inheritance. So when we are going in object oriented analysis, then we'll go for generalization, and when we are in programming language, then we'll say that it is an inheritance. So when we are going from this inheritance, let's say we are going from multiple inheritance, right from the two disjoint classes. So let's say we are having a class, let's say employee, and this employee has been inherited by two different classes, let's say full-time employee and the part-time employee. Another inheritance is that it is a manager and it is individual contributor. Now we are having two different uh, again another class, that is full-time individual contributor. So this full-time individual contributor is a full-time employee as well as it is an individual contributor available here. So when it is inheriting some information, like say these classes, and these classes are, let's say, disjoint sets. So these are from different domains. Let's say this is full-time employee and this is an individual contributor. So when we are inheriting this property, so and this both to this information, these two classes inheriting its properties and operation right from a common class, this is an employee. So we are having two different paths available. Let's say this is first path and this is a second path. So we are having some mixing problem associated with each other. So we have to look and check what information that is being that should be propagated from your employee through full-time employee or through individual contributor to your full-time individual contributor. So we have to check and we have to identify how we can pass all this information to our subclass, that is a full-time individual contributor. So again, and multiple inheritance can occur with two overlapping classes. So here we are having two overlapping classes here. So this is a vehicle class and this is a land vehicle and this is another water vehicle class available. So these are two classes, and this amphibious vehicle. So This amphibious vehicle might be a land vehicle or it might be a water vehicle. So this is an amphibious. Let's say uh, amphibious vehicles कुछ टैंक्स होते हैं and कुछ rovers होते हैं जो these both are the amphibious vehicles. So these inherit property right from your land vehicle as well as your water vehicle. So it inherits right from all those properties. So when we are saying that these are the overlapping classes, it means that your individual vehicle may belong to more than one class. So right from, let's say we are having some tanks available, so these tanks might belong to your land vehicles as well as the water vehicles. So when we are going to check the speed of that particular vehicle, so it has some different mechanism to calculate the speed in land area, and it has some different mechanism to calculate the speed in the water. Let's say in water we have a criteria to measure speed in some nautical miles, while in case of this land vehicle we usually calculate our speed in kilometers per hour. So when we are having an attribute, so let's say speed, so we have to either go from this or we have to go check from this. So what is the criteria for identifying your speed of your particular vehicle? So because we are having two different mechanisms, and this mechanism is particularly available from here, and it provides some specialization here or from here, and then we are having some ambiguous properties over here. So here again we are having two different constants available. So these are two constants. First is overlapping and second one is incomplete. I will cover it in later 2 or 3 slides later. So we'll check what are these constants available. So these are structural constants available. So when we are saying that it is an overlapping, it means that your individual vehicle may belong to more than one classes. Then when I'm saying that it is an incomplete, it means that all possible subclasses, that is these possible subclasses of vehicle may have not been explicitly named. So we are not explicitly named whether it should be in amphibious vehicles or like uh, let's say uh, hovers or tanks and so on. So what we can do is we will write an amphibious vehicle over here, and then we'll go for again in specialization for this amphibious vehicle over here, right? So we have to check either from we are implementing right from some disjoint classes, or we are implementing all those classes right from your overlapping classes. To we have to check again different properties from this multiple inheritances. Then we are having some multiple classification. This is not related to your machine learning. This is in just a multiple classification. That is, you are having an instance can represent two multiple classes over here. So when we are saying that multiple classification, so we can say that an instance of a class is inherently an instance of all these ancestors. So let's say uh, let's take an example that uh, we are having a class A. So this A is being inherited by class B, and we are having another class that inherit your class C. So we are having a series, let's say A, B, and C. So when we are creating an object of C, so it obviously includes all the properties of B and A. Now problem arises that when your instance belongs to multiple classes, let's say this is again an example. Let's say what about an engineer that works in Tata Motors developing and design for Mahindra? So what we can say about that engineer, either it belongs to Tata Motors or it belongs to Mahindra private limited. So we are having some problems. So this may arise some serious problems. So while when we are going to we are going in the implementation part in different languages, so we have to check whether these different languages supports a multiple classification or not, like Java supports or not, or Python supports or not, or C++ supports this multiple classification or not. Let's say consider this example that a person uh, a person this so we are having some aggregation relationship here. So person may be an university member. So may be a member of another university. So a faculty is an university member, another student is again a university member, then staff is again a university member. Then we are like we are organizing an special lecture or expert lecture. So we can have an instructor. This instructor may be a faculty, or this instructor may be a student of your final year. So again, we are having a class that implements all those things. So we are implementing right from your overlapping classes. And now what we can say that about this instructor. So we don't have a support in many languages, don't have support for this multiple classification, but yes, our UML or the object oriented analysis supports this your multiple class classification. So you can model your multiple classification. Yeah, an object can be represented as an uh, instance of multiple classes over here. So you can go for this, and you have to find different ways how can we implement this in your programming languages. Then we are going from the metadata. So what about this metadata? So metadata is just an about data about data. So it describes another data. So we are having some classes that can define another classes. So we can have some meta classes available over here. So this is an this consider this example. So we are having 4 classes like a company, car model, then physical car and person. So here your car model. So this car model is just a metadata that is relative to your physical car. So we are having physical car that have some serial number, color, option, or their registration number and so on. So this is an physical number. Then we are having some another class that describes about your physical car, that what about its model name. Let's say I am having a Hyundai car, so a model name is, let's say, i20. Then what about its year of uh, construction? So it might be in 2020, 2050. What is the base price and also option. So this particular class describes your physical car. So we can say that this is an association, and this class may be a metadata class. So we can model this uh, metadata class in right. We can identify this car model in a robustness diagram as well as in sequence diagram as an entity class. Now we have some other different classifications. So either we can go for this as a metadata class, so it describes all those information over here. So it describes some information over. Instead, if we are not having some information, we can go for directly from over here. But uh, when we are placing some metadata, it supports your uh, system very well. Like say, when you are having some login class available and you are having some credential class available. So login class have some username and password. Then you are in some, not username and password. Then we are having another class that stores information about registration of user. So this registration or the credential class may be in metadata of your login details. So here we can model this registration as well as an login classes as a metadata of another classes. So this is another way how we can find the relationship between two different classes. So when we are going to develop this class model, so we can use this metadata as a relationship between two different classes. Then comes constraint, जो मैंने आपको 2-3 slides पहले बोला भी था. So what are these constraints? So these constraints are just a Boolean condition that involves in your developing your model elements. Right? It restricts the value of that elements that we can assume. Let's say for this example, we are having different constraints available. So let's say when we are going for constraints on objects. So when we are going to map some constraints on your object, so it may be in some Boolean condition. Let's say employee salary must be less than your boss salary. So this is a constraint. So when we are going to hire some persons, let's say हमने कल एक example भी देखा था या बनाया भी था किसी student ने employee management system का use case. So we can have an object that employee salary should be less than his boss salary. So this is an again a constant, so we have to map this constant because this is again a real world assumption and this assumption is always true. So when we are going to hire someone, we have to check that that particular person's salary should not be more than his boss salary. So this is an constant and this is a real world constant. Again, we are having some an object like window, so its length should be greater than this, or its width should be greater than this. For an example, when we are going to develop an GUI for user, so the aspect ratio should be like this, or the width should be like this. So these are different constraints. So when you are mapping all those constraints, so you have to write all those constraints with their objects. Again, an object, let's say job, so and we are having some priority, so this priority never increases. So these are different constraints, so we can map all those constraints on your object, so you can go for implementing all those constraints. So these constraints are uh, uh, can be placed on this curly bracket near your object, so you can put your boolean constraints right below your objects within your within this curly braces. Then we are having some constraints that are applied on your generalization sets. So these constraints may be on the class structure. Let's say this class may implement a single inheritance, or we can go for multiple inheritance, or we can have some abstract classes, or this superclass and subclass cannot have a concrete superclasses. So all those types of constraints can be applied on your generalization sets. So how can we this model? So these are different generalization sets. So we are having different keywords associated with these generalization set. So we have already looked this overlapping and incomplete. So what are this? So first is disjoint. So the subclasses are supposed to be the mutually exclusive. So each object belongs to exactly one of the subclasses that we have uh, cover it on this slide. So this is a constraint. So this constraint is like these are the disjoint uh, constraint. So what it can say that, so it suggests that your subclasses should be mutually exclusive. So when we are inheriting some information right from your superclass via two different paths, so we can put a disjoint constraint over here. So we while implementing, we can follow one of the two paths that are being available. So to do this, you have to go for some disjoint set. So you can put a disjoint constraint over there. So it certainly help your developer to identify that this type of inheritance is supported as a disjoint constraint. Then we are having another constraint, that is an overlapping constraint. So this overlapping constraint suggests that the subclasses can share same objects. So an objects may belong to the more than one subclasses. So हमने ये देख भी लिया था previous class में, sorry previous slides में. Then we are having some complete constraint. So this complete constraint says that the generalization lists all the possible subclasses. So let's say for this example, uh, फॉर दिस एग्जाम्पल यहाँ पर हमारे पास लेट से दिस इन कार एंड दिस इज बोर्ड, बट जब हमारे पास एम्फीबियस नहीं था तो हमने जितनी भी हमारी इन्फॉर्मेशन थी वो सारी इन्फॉर्मेशन एज एन सारी सब क्लासेस हमने यहाँ आइडेंटिफाई नहीं करी. सो जब अगर यहाँ पर हम सारी सब क्लासेस आइडेंटिफाई कर सकते थे ऑल पॉसिबल क्लासेस, तो दिस शुड बी इन कंप्लीट, अदरवाइज दिस शुड बी इन इनकम्प्लीट कंस्टेंट ओवर हियर. सो you can put your complete or incomplete and as well as your overlapping constraint here. Again, this is an overlapping constraint that it identifies. So this particular object may belong to this path or may belong to this path. So this is an overlapping as well as your incomplete. So we can find out whether this is an incomplete or not. Let's say when we are creating an instance of class CSB. So instead of creating all those instances right from your roll number 1 to roll number 68, we can have some different instances like say 2016-17 BTech plus MBA, 2017 plus to 17 BTech plus MBA, then 2016 CC and 2017 CC. So we can create 4 types of instances. So these 4 type of instances suggest that we are going for incomplete constraints. Either while another case, when we are going from these complete cases or complete constraints, so instead of writing these 4 classes, I can find out each student of your classes as an individual object. So this is how we can implement your overlapping, incomplete or disjoint or the complete constraints in your models. So these are constraints. Then we are having some constraints that are associated with your links. So let's say this works on the multiplicity. So हमने multiplicity देख रखा था. So these are different constraints that these are related to many constraints, or this may belongs to one to many constraints. So these are multiplicity links are again your constraint. So you can put a different constraint over here. So this is an constraint that says that a person, at least one person should be in our committee, or a person can belongs to the multiple committee, but a committee has at least one person. So this is a constraint that we cannot go for 0%. A committee contains a 0% over here. So this is our constraint. So this is how we can map our constraints in links. So this is in multiplicity. Then comes the usage. So what are the different usage of this constraint? So it usually it is used for declarative manner. Let's say for this example, so we have used that a person may belongs to the multiple committee, or a committee has an at least one person. So this is a way how we can represent our declarative sentence, or we can represent our design elements in a declaration form instead of having modeling all those terms. So this is a declarative manner. So the another usage is that it converts constraints to the procedure form before starting implementing them. So we are having some specific or specified structure or procedure that is being available for from going from design to implementation. So we can either go from different design. We can use particular or specific design patterns for implementing all those constants. Let's say we can say that this class can have at most one object available. So this is an constraint. So when we are going to have such a implement such constraint, so we can have a singleton pattern available. So it checks whether the object has been created or not. If the object of particular class has been created, so it will not allow another object. So this is how we can implement different constraints using design patterns. Or let's say we are having constraint that says that a class starts invoking another class, and then third class, second class invokes the third class. So this is another way we can go for invoke or propagation design patterns in the implementation part. So this constraint may be considered as one of the quality criteria to judge whether your class model is good or not. So but problem associated with this quality criteria, this is qualitative criteria. It says that we cannot enforce every constraint on your model structure. So अगर आपके पास कंस्ट्रेंट हैं तो आप डालेंगे, हमको बहुत अच्छा मॉडल बनाना है, बहुत अच्छे मॉडल बनाने के लिए हम हर क्लास पे कुछ कंस्ट्रेंट डालें. दिस इज नॉट पॉसिबल, और दिस इज नॉट अ गुड प्रैक्टिस टू go for enforcing every constraint on every model structure or in every class. So what we can do is that we can go for the important constraints that should be placed on the every classes, and but obvious हर क्लास के साथ हम constraint ऐड कर भी नहीं सकते. Right. Then we are going from the state modeling. So what are these state models? So when we are going from the state model, so this state model says that this state model usually consists of your multiple state diagrams. So what are these state diagrams we'll cover. So when we are having some state diagrams, so it contains multiple state diagrams, and these state diagrams are usually one for each classes that includes the temporal behavior of your classes, and this temporal behavior is usually considered as the most important behavior of your model, or we can say that application behavior. So these state models are usually dynamic in nature and represents your time dependent aspects, or we can say that these are the temporal models available. So it includes all those uh, particular information at instant of time or particular events and so on. So these state models are usually temporal in nature and maps your temporal behavior, right? Let's say per particular instant of time what your system can do. So it includes different states of your objects, and it is usually concerned with the temporal changes in your particular state. For say एक इवेंट हुई और उस पर्टिकुलर एक इवेंट होने के बाद क्या टेम्पोरल चेंजेस हुए, जैसे मैंने लॉगिन कर लिया एंड इफ द लॉगिन इज सक्सेसफुल देन एज सेशन क्रिएट हो गया. सो बिफोर लॉगिन हमारे पास सेशन एम्प्टी था, आफ्टर लॉगिन वी आर इन session available. So this is an temporal changes associated with particular event. So we are having some main concepts available for this state model. So what are the 4 or 5 main concepts associated with state modeling, sir? First are the states. So these states are the situation at a particular condition. So let's say एक स्टेट हुई कि लेट्स से एक पर्टिकुलर ऑब्जेक्ट में मान लीजिए एक पर्सन है, सो पर्सन की एज हो गई पर्टिकुलरली लेट्स से 26, देन कुछ हुआ, देन इस एज बिकम्स 27 एंड सो ऑन. सो दिस आर द पर्टिकुलर स्टेट कि 26 पे क्या था, 27 पे क्या था. लेट्स से यू आर इन अ स्टेट व्हेन यू आर लर्निंग object oriented analysis and design, then you are in again in different state right from 12 o'clock. So आपकी लर्निंग स्टेट चेंज हो गई से IoT. So these are different state associated with. Then a transition, so a transition that forces to change your state. So एक transition हुआ. What is the transition? The transition is related, जैसे आपका जैसे ही 12 बजे आपका transition हुआ, let's say you are moving from your object oriented analysis to your IoT classes. Then an event. So these events are the occurrence that triggers your transition. So कुछ भी event, let's say we'll discuss all these events, and so we have different types of events usually available. So these events may be concurrent and non-concurrent, or how these are dependent or independent events, or let's say uh, some error condition and so on. So these are different events. Then we'll cover actions. So these actions are just atomic computation or uninterrupted computation that occurs due to some event. So these are some actions. Let's say you join your classes, so this is our action. Then we are having some concurrency of transition. When we are saying that we are having some concurrent events, so we are having some concurrency at the time of transition. So we'll include all those events over there. Then so first part I like to cover is event. So what are these events? So this event is just an occurrence at a particular point of time. So when I'm saying that I'm clicking on this menu, or I'm clicking on this menu, or I'm clicking right from here. So these are different events that occurs at a particular instant of time. So आपने किसी पर्टिकुलर इवेंट पे, जैसे हम इवेंट हैंडलिंग प्रोग्रामिंग करते हैं, तो हमने एक मेनू पे लेफ्ट क्लिक करा या राइट क्लिक करा या एंड सो ऑन. So these are particular events, so we have to map all those events. So these are a state model. So these events are usually mapped in your state model. So these are just an dynamic behavior. हमारे क्लास मॉडल में हम ये इम्प्लीमेंट नहीं कर सकते कि यूजर ने लेफ्ट क्लिक करा या राइट क्लिक करा. So these are different properties associated with your dynamic behavior. So this is how we can map your dynamic behavior. So when we are mapping our dynamic behavior, we like to include in our state diagram. So these events are usually corresponds to your particular verbs that are used in past tenses, like say power turned on, an alarm set, or I user left clicked on the menu. So these are verbs, how you can identify. So these are the verbs that are available in the past tenses. Now an event happens instantaneously with regard to time scale of your application. So when we are going say that this is an instance instantaneously, so but in the real world nothing is instantaneously. एक इवेंट के होने के पीछे कुछ ना कुछ दूसरी इवेंट होगी या कुछ सीरीज ऑफ एक्शन होगी जिसके कारण एक इवेंट दूसरे इवेंट पे गया. फॉर एन एग्जांपल, आपने किसी पर्टिकुलर मेनू पे राइट क्लिक करा या लेफ्ट क्लिक करा, तो दिस इज नॉट इंस्टेंटेनियसली हो रहा है. आप किसी इंफॉर्मेशन को सर्च कर रहे हैं तभी आप उस पर्टिकुलर मेनू को क्लिक कर रहे हैं या कहीं राइट क्लिक कर रहे हैं, या मैं नेक्स्ट स्लाइड पर जाना चाहता हूं तो मैं यहाँ पे नेक्स्ट बटन क्लिक करूंगा एंड सो ऑन. सो ये हम मान के चलते हैं इनिशियली कि दिस आर इंस्टेंटेनियसली, बट इन द रियल वर्ल्ड दिस इज नॉट एन इंस्टेंटेनियसली कि मैं आपको इस पर्टिकुलर पॉइंट पे पढ़ा रहा हूँ और मैं नेक्स्ट स्लाइड पर चले जाऊँ. दिस इज नॉट एन इंस्टेंटेनियसली. मैं जब तक इस स्लाइड पे नहीं होऊंगा या यहाँ तक इस पॉइंट को कवर नहीं करूँगा, मैं नेक्स्ट स्लाइड पे नहीं जा सकता. सो दिस आर नॉट इंस्टेंटेनियसली. सो when we are saying that one event may be logically precede or follow the another, or the two events may be related. So जब हम बात करें दिस आर नॉट इंस्टेंटेनियसली, इसका मतलब है कि एक इवेंट हो रही है उसके बाद दूसरी इवेंट हो रही है, एक इवेंट के बाद दूसरी हो रही है, एक इवेंट दूसरे को इन्वोक कर रही है. सो वी आर हैविंग सम डिफरेंट इवेंट्स that are being available. So what we can say that this event might be related, or this may not be related. So when we are saying that these are unrelated, so we can say that these types of events are usually concurrent events and they usually don't have effect on each other. So let's say if we are communicating between two events, so if we like to communicate between two events, so there should be a communication delay between two locations. Let's say right from first event to second events, so there should be a time difference between these two events. So when we are saying that two events are unrelated, then we can say that these two different events are concurrent. Why? Because these are unrelated, and we don't consider time between these two events, and eventually these events cannot influence each other because these are supposed to be unrelated. Let's say मैं पंखा भी चला रहा हूँ और नेक्स्ट राइड भी चला रहा हूँ, तो दिस इज एन डिफरेंट इवेंट्स. सो ये इवेंट एक दूसरे को इन्फ्लुएंस कर ही नहीं सकती. नाउ इवन for the physical location, let's say I'm sitting on different physical location, so two events that are not distance to each other, so we can consider all those as an concurrent events, because if it is not being affected by with each other. Let's say मैं आपको पढ़ा रहा हूँ और साथ में पानी पी रहा हूँ, so ये दोनों एक दूसरे से डिस्टेंट नहीं है, पर क्या मेरा पानी पीना और उसी टाइम पढ़ाना एक दूसरे को अफेक्ट करता है? यस, इट कैन अफेक्ट. बट लेट्स से मैं आपको पढ़ा रहा हूँ और मीनवाइल में मेरा व्हाट्सएप भी चेक कर रहा हूँ, और यूजुअली मैं चेक कर भी रहा हूँ. सो ये इवेंट भी कॉन्करेंट है. एक्चुअली दिस आर द कॉन्करेंट इवेंट, क्योंकि मैं बोल रहा हूँ दिस इज गुड, मैं मेरा व्हाट्सएप चेक कर रहा हूँ तो मेरे पास कुछ व्हाट्सएप आया और आई एम पोस्टिंग माई व्हाट्सएप status over here. So this is again concurrent event. Even these are not distant, but usually मेरा पढ़ाना और मेरा WhatsApp चेक करना एक दूसरे को affect नहीं कर रहा. So what I can say that these are usually concurrent events. So this is how we can model concurrent events over here. Now we are having different types of events associated with each other. So first type of event is usually a signal event. So a signal event is just an explicitly one-way transmission of information from one object to another. So we are, let's say an example अगर आपने देखा भी होगा, हम यूजुअली आपने अगर माइक्रो प्रोसेसर सब्जेक्ट पढ़ा होगा या यूजुअली आपने कभी लाइनेक्स पे काम करा होगा, इवन आपने ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम पे काम करा होगा, तो वहाँ पर एक interrupt generate होता था, this is known as signal. So this signal is really associated with this signal event. So what is that interrupt? So this signal is explicitly one way transmission. यार मेरी क्लास सिग्नल था कि मेरा पर्टिकुलर इवेंट पे कि मेरी आवाज नहीं आ रही, तो दिस इज एन एक्स सिग्नल जनरेट होता है आपकी क्लास की तरफ से कि सर आवाज नहीं आ रही. सो दिस इज एन सिग्नल. नाउ जब आपने व्हेन अगेन दिस इज एन वन वे ट्रांसमिशन. व्हाई? क्योंकि आपने बोला कि सर आवाज नहीं आ रही, अब मेरी तरफ से अगर आवाज ही नहीं जा रही तो दिस इज अज्यूम टू बी द वन वे ट्रांजिशन. देन मैं इसके पीछे कुछ रिस्पॉन्स करूंगा. सो दिस रिस्पॉन्स इज नॉट एसोसिएटेड विथ योर सिग्नल दैट आवाज आ रही है नहीं आ रही. मैं कुछ ठीक करूंगा और ठीक करने के बाद फिर बोलूंगा नाउ एम आई ऑडिबल दिस टाइम. सो दिस आर टू डिफरेंट सिग्नल्स. अगर मैंने एक सिग्नल भेजा है, आप लोगों ने एक सिग्नल भेजा है, तो उसका रिस्पॉन्स भी मैं दूसरे सिग्नल में करूंगा. ऐसा नहीं होगा कि हमारे पास हैंड शेकिंग हो रही है लाइक इन केस ऑफ योर डेटाकॉम कि दो पर्सन्स आपस में कम्युनिकेट कर रहे हैं. दिस इज नॉट एन कम्युनिकेटिंग, दिस इज जस्ट एन वन वे ट्रांसमिशन. आपने बोला सर आवाज नहीं आ रही है, देन आई विल चेक एंड मीनवाइल आप बैठे हुए हैं. देन अगेन मैं सिग्नल बोलता हूँ कि नाउ आई एम ऑडिबल. सो आप फिर जगते हैं कि नाउ रेडी दैट वी आर गोइंग फॉर take next slide over there. So initially it looks similar to your routine. Why? Let's say what are the routines? That routines are supposed to be आपने कुछ भेजा, कुछ एक फंक्शन कॉल करा और उसका कुछ रिस्पॉन्स आया. सो इनिशियली इट लुक्स सिमिलर टू रूटीन जैसा मैंने भी बोला था, बट इट यूजुअली इट इज जस्ट इन वन वे ट्रांसमिशन. सो एक ऑब्जेक्ट ने कुछ सिग्नल सेंड करा है तो ये एक्सपेक्ट करता है कि सिग्नल आएगा, पर वो एक्सपेक्टेशन का जो भी सिग्नल आएगा वो अनदर सिग्नल ही आएगा. सो वन वे ट्रांसमिशन, आपने इधर से फायर करा, मैंने उधर से फायर करा, तो दीज आर सिग्नल इवेंट्स. सो हम इन बातों पे बात नहीं करेंगे कि आपने भेजा उसका मैं रिस्पॉन्स करूंगा. आपने सिर्फ बोला सर आवाज नहीं आ रही, मैं मेरे यहाँ से ठीक करूंगा और फिर बोलूंगा ना आई एम ऑडिबल. अदरवाइज अगर हम सिंपल रूटीन की बात कर रहे हैं तो आपने कुछ क्वेश्चन पूछा, मैं उसका रिस्पॉन्स करूंगा. दिस आर जस्ट एन रूटीन. While when we are going from signal event is just an interrupt from you and another signal event. वो आपका जो interrupt आया उस interrupt की तरफ से फिर मेरा दूसरा interrupt आया. So this is just a signal event. So signal event is the event of sending or the receiving the signal. Either you can send a signal or you can receive your signal. Just आप उससे कुछ response में मांगने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. So these are not associated or we are not concerning about कि हम कुछ response में ले रहे हैं, पर yeah we have to receive signals right from your another person. So we are having different classes available. So एक क्लास हो सकती है लेट्स से माउस बटन पुश्ड. अगर आपने .NET पे यूजुअली काम करा होगा या जावा में आपने GUI पे काम करा होगा, तो दिस इज हाउ आपको बहुत इजी होगा ये समझना. लेट्स से माउस बटन पुश्ड और लेफ्ट बटन पुश्ड और लेफ्ट बटन क्लिक्ड, राइट बटन क्लिक्ड, another string is entered. So these are different signals. Let's say जब आप सिग्नल आप सबमिट बटन पे क्लिक करते हैं, दिस इज अगेन सिग्नल कि जैसे ही आपने सबमिट बटन पर क्लिक करा आपके HTML पेज पर तो कुछ इवेंट ट्रिगर हुई. तो दिस इज एन सिग्नल इवेंट कि एक चीज कुछ हुई, हमने यहाँ से भेज दिया, आपने सबमिट करा, सबमिट के बाद वो रिस्पॉन्स एक्सपेक्ट ही नहीं करता आपका सिस्टम बोल देता है कि मैंने डेटा भेज दिया. अब आपका जो HTTP रिक्वेस्ट हैंडलर और रिसीवर है वो उसको जो भेजना होगा उसका रिस्पॉन्स वहाँ भेजेगा, पर इट डजंट एक्सपेक्ट एनी रिस्पॉन्स फ्रॉम योर let's say your servlet side. So these are just in signal events. So we can have different signals event available. First is your flight departure. So आपकी flight depart हुई, then your mouse button pushed or string और your receiver lifted. Let's say मेरा हम फ़ोन पे बात कर रहे हैं तो मैंने फ़ोन उठा लिया. मैं मोबाइल की बात नहीं कर रहा, मैं जस्ट फ़ोन की बात कर रहा हूँ. सो वी receiver lifted और digit dialed in your phone. So these are different signal events that are being occurring on your system. So the next event is the change event. So what are these change events? So this change event is an event that is caused by the satisfaction of your Boolean expression. So the event or the intent of a change event is usually an expression that is being continuously evaluated or continuously tested. So whenever an expression changes from, let's say, from your false to true, and some event that happens, so these are some change events. So when we are implementing uh, this event, so you have to insert some boolean condition. So when we are going from some UML notation for this change event, so we'll use some keyword, let's say when. So मैंने यहाँ पे लिखा भी है, so when. So these are some change event, these are associated with keyword when, and this is again a parenthesized by some boolean expression. So let's say some example, let's say a change event when your room temperature is less than your heating point, तो आपका AC चालू हो जाना चाहिए या AC नहीं चालू होना चाहिए. when AC चालू होना चाहिए, that say room temperature is greater than your cooling set point. So again this is an event जो आपके सिस्टम पे चालू होता है. अगेन व्हेन आपका मोबाइल में बैटरी सेवर कब चालू होना चाहिए, सो लेट्स से दिस इज बैटरी पावर इज लेस देन योर लोअर लिमिट, से लेट्स से दिस इन 15%, और यूजुअली 15% होता है. देन अगेन व्हेन, ये आई तो हो सकता है कुछ गलत होगा. अगेन व्हेन टायर प्रेशर इज लेस देन मिनिमम प्रेशर, तो आप कुछ हवा भरवाओगे आपकी गाड़ी में. सो दिस आर डिफरेंट डिफरेंट चेंज ऑफ इवेंट्स associated with this. Next is our time event. So what are these time events? So time event is an event that are caused by the occurrence of absolute time, or let's say elapse of time per time interval. So let's say this example. So we are having some UML notation from this absolute time. So keyword we'll use a keyword when, and followed by your parenthesis available here, and within this parenthesis you are having some expression that is being evaluated at particular instant of time. So these are some time events associated. So let's say when, so time event says that when, then you are going from some evaluation of expression, let's say after 10 seconds. So either we can go for when or we can go for after. So we have two different notations available here. Let's say this is an when and this is an after. So when we are going from when keyword, it means that you have to include some expression available over here. Or when we are having some change of event, so how we can differentiate a change of event with the time event? So in case of change event, you are having some expression that returns some boolean expression over there, while in case of time event you are having some expression that results some numerical. अगर आपको अभी कोई प्रॉब्लम है तो आप पूछ लीजिए मुझसे इस क्लास में, अदरवाइज मैं अटेंडेंस ले लेता हूँ. कोई प्रॉब्लम आप